What's good? It's your boy Fanon. All right, my man Danny Garcia said something, and I want to make a video about this because this looks like more and more likely that Errol Spence Jr. is going to fight Mikey Garcia. And Danny Garcia said something about it. I also know that Mikey Garcia said some things about what he thought was why he wanted to fight Errol Spence Jr. because he saw some things in the Lamont Peterson fight that he thinks that he could take advantage of. And Danny Garcia, said that he thinks that Mikey Garcia is a real good fighter, but that he can't. He just thinks, that Errol Spence Jr. is going to be too big for him. So, the question for me is, what's more important in this fight? Is it going to be, the skill of Mikey Garcia? Is the skill of Mikey Garcia so much better than Errol Spence Jr. that it'll be able to overcome the size and strength advantages that apparently Errol Spence Jr. has? So that's what I'm going to talk about here long and short of this is that, I really think that the pressure is going to be not the pressure, but the importance for Errol Spence in this fight. Two things. One thing, Mikey Garcia, if he tries to, if he thinks that he is going to go to Victor Conte, because one of the things that he said is that, Mikey Garcia plans to train at the Victor Conte's Scientific Nutrition for Advanced Conditioning facility in St. Carlos, California, to help him add weight sensibly for what literally and figuratively will be the biggest fight of his career. But Danny Garcia doesn't think that'll make much difference once Spence imposes his size and strength on him. And so if Mikey Garcia goes in here and tries to put on bulk, tries to put on size, and to counteract the strength of Errol Spence Jr., I think if he does too much of that, I think that really can get Mikey Garcia in a lot of trouble. Now, I know that Mikey Garcia has, in pretty much every fight that I've seen Mikey Garcia in, with the exception of Adrian Brawner. And where Adrian Brawner was really drained down to 144 pounds. I think that Mikey Garcia has been the bigger fighter, the bigger man in all of his fights. Not necessarily obviously he wasn't the taller guy in all of his fights because you have Robert Easter Jr., but Mikey Garcia had a considerable size and strength advantage over him. I think he really, even against Sergey Lipinets, I think he had a size and strength advantage. If he tries to put on enough weight where he can gain a size and strength advantage over Errol Spence Jr., I think that can cause him a problem in his reaction time. And if his timing is not perfect, if he's not able to really catch Errol Spence Jr., or he puts on additional weight and that affects his endurance in the later rounds, that could be completely disastrous for Mikey Garcia. And I know that Victor Conte has a great, honestly, man, Victor Conte's best reputation is built off being the best cheater around. Now, I can't speak for how. I have to look back and see how, the guys that he's trained with, how they've performed. Since he's been, quote unquote, a legitimate strength and conditioning coach and not a dude that basically is helping people cheat. He's obviously, I believe he's going to help Mikey walk that line as closely as he can without going over the top of it. I don't believe Mikey Garcia is going to get on any dope because of, for the fight. I don't believe so anyway. I think that he will try to rely on his skills, but if he puts on a lot of weight, man, that could be, and he loses any amount of speed, I think that's going to be a problem for him. Even if it helps him deal with the strength of Errol Spence Jr., better than he would have if he didn't. Because I just think that the size difference, it's going to be so significant for Errol Spence Jr., the strength, that I don't think you're going to be able to equalize it and make it. I mean, to get him to be strong enough to where that he can make Errol Spence Jr. have respect for him, when Errol Spence Jr. is a guy that is hurting 154 pounders with gigantic gloves on and sparring, I think that's going to be tough. But if Mikey Garcia, and this is where people keep acting like this thing is going to be some big mismatch. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the case, right? I mean, my mind says, yeah, you take the bigger guy, the big aggressive guy. Nobody's really going the distance with Errol Spence Jr. in a very long time. And the dude is a complete wrecking ball. But Mikey Garcia is he's a multiple time champion, man. He's very experienced. He's got a great camp. And if Errol Spence Jr. boxes with Mikey Garcia, there are some chances that Danny Garcia can get some rounds. And if you can get some rounds, you always have a chance of winning the fight. I think the problem I think the thing that is important for Errol Spence Jr. is for Errol Spence Jr. just to beat Mikey Garcia up and make it a very, very rough fight, make it a rugged fight, keep Mikey Garcia constantly uncomfortable. And I think that is, that's obviously something that Errol Spence Jr. did with all of his other opponents. But I think with Mikey Garcia, I think that's going to be exceptionally important because Mikey Garcia really does like to control. Mikey Garcia does a great job of controlling the pace of the fight. He fights when he wants to fight. If you're aggressive with him, he can box, he can move. One of the things in getting ready for when I was watching Mikey Garcia before he fought Adrian Bronner, the one thing about Mikey that really impressed me that I didn't appreciate about him before was that Mikey Garcia really has the ability to fight off the back foot very well. And so when in the fight with Adrian Bronner, when Adrian Bronner did start pressing him, Mikey Garcia got up out of there. And Mikey Garcia made it very difficult once Adrian Bronner wanted to be aggressive during the times that he wanted to be aggressive. He made it more difficult for Adrian Bronner to get off, even if he did want to quote unquote let his hands go. But whenever it was that it seemed as if Adrian Bronner, and the same thing happened with Robert Garcia in his last fight. Robert Easter in his last fight. As soon as Adrian Bronner stopped throwing punches, once he wasn't aggressive and he started boxing with him, I mean, Mikey Garcia could time. It seemed like Mikey Garcia knew what punches they were throwing before they threw the punches, and was always, always in a position to capitalize on that. However, with Errol Spence, Errol Spence, that's why I'm saying I think that more important than the size and the strength. I do believe that the size and the strength are going to be important, but more important than anything, I think Errol Spence Jr. just really, really, really needs to be aggressive, constantly put the pressure on him, make it a situation where Mikey Garcia is getting tired. Mikey Garcia's got to when Mikey Garcia is taking breaks, or is trying to, get his space, he's just got to really keep the heat on him and be the big man in it. One of the guys that the last fight that was similar to this was where you had a guy that was moving up a weight class, fighting a guy that was in a higher weight class. Is Vasyl Lomachenko, Guillermo Rigondeaux. Now, obviously, Mikey Garcia is not in the same situation that Guillermo Rigondeaux was, because he's not really moving up 2 weight classes. He's moving up 1 weight class from his highest weight that he's fought at, which is he fought at 144 pounds. He's fought at 140 pounds, and he looked kind of chubby at 140 pounds, but I really think Mikey Garcia is probably 140. He can fight at 140 pounds. I think he would give a good fight to any of the guys at 140 pounds, if not beat everybody at 140 pounds, which, is another subject. I would much rather have seen him do that, but he's not in the same situation that Guillermo Rigondeaux was in, because he's not giving up that much size. But I think that Errol Spence Jr.'s approach to the fight should be the same thing that Vasyl Lomachenko mentioned. Vasyl Lomachenko, when he talked about fighting Guillermo Rigondeaux, said, I'm going to roll over him like a truck. I'm just going to go at him. You're a little guy. You're a smaller guy than me. I'm significantly bigger than you, and I'm not going to be cute with you. I'm just going to try to run at you, and I'm going to try to hurt you. And if Errol Spence Jr. does that, then I think Errol Spence Jr., I think what Danny Garcia says is true and will happen. He'll just, the size and the strength over time in that fight will just really, really wear on him. But if he tries to box him, if he tries to outthink him, I just don't think I think that could cause him a lot of problem. But, it is what it is. This is one of the best fights, and this is not saying a lot. Other than Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, this is one of the best fights that I know of coming up, man. It doesn't say that doesn't say much, because on the real, I would much rather have had Errol Spence Jr. in there against Sean Porter or Terrence Crawford or Keith Thurman, and I would much rather have had Vasily Lomachenko and Mikey Garcia fighting. If not, have Mikey Garcia up at 140 pounds with Regis Prograis or Josh Taylor or Baranachek, Kyle Relic, one of those guys coming out of the 140-pound tournament. But, it is what it is, and, people are going to chase the big money. Sean Porter didn't want to fight with Errol Spence. So, we got to take what we can get, and this is it. So with that, I'm out. Peace.